Hello, good morning everyone. Our topic for today is the material self. Ano ba yung the material self? Ano yung material self? The material self, according to William James, pertains to the objects, places, or even people which have the label mine. Such possessions are viewed as extensions of individual's identity. For instance, your clothes reflect certain aspect of your personality and you designate them as my wardrobe. Material self consists of things that belong to a person or entities that a person belongs to. The material self consists of things that belong to a person or entities that a person belongs to. Thus, things like the body, family, clothes, money, and such make up the material self. For William James, the core of the material self was the body. Person's clothes is second to the body, were important to the material self. The innermost part of our material self is the body. Our body is very important and we are directly attached to and that we cannot live without it. We strive hard to make sure that our body is healthy and functions very well. Clothes. It is a form of self-expression. We choose and wear clothes that are a reflection of ourselves. Watson 2014. James believes that this is an essential part of the material self as influenced by philosophy of dress by Hermann Lotz. Anytime we bring an object into the surface of our body, we invest that object into the consciousness of our personal existence, taking in its contours to be pour on and make it part of the self. Family. Parents and siblings hold another great important part of the self. What they do or become affect us. When a member dies, a part of us dies too. When in success, we feel their victories. When in disadvantage situation, there's an urge to help. We place huge investment to our immediate family when we see them as the nearest replica of our self. Home. Home is where our heart is. Earliest nest of our selfhood experiences inside the home were recorded and marked on particular parts and things in our home. If only walls can speak, it is an extension of self because in it we can directly connect ourselves. Having investment of self to things make us attached to those things. The more investment of self is given to the particular things, the more we identify ourselves to it. A man's self is the sum total of all what he can call his. James 1980. Possessions then become part or an extension of self. Why do you go to the mall? Do you ever go to the mall to relax after a bad day? Do you consider going to the mall as your me time? Retail therapy. The act of buying special things for yourself in order to feel better when you are unhappy. So what are the things that we usually buy? Symbolic communication model. Material possessions form a part of the owner's extended self by constituting symbols for personal and social aspects of identity. William James' Theory of the Self, Principles of Psychology, published in 1890. The self is composed of the I and me components. I component of the self refers to the pure ego or the thinking self, which could not be further broken down. Me is divided into the material, social, and spiritual components of the self. The self is composed of I self and me self. Me self has three components: the material self, the social self, and the spiritual self. Material self refers to possessions or among the things that made up one's self-identity and makes up who we are. Building up one's self-image depends on the attainment of these materials. There are different parts of the material self: body, family, and reputation, possessions such as clothing, and of course, money. The body is the core or the innermost part of the self. The body is a commodity one cannot live without. Hence, we invest time, money, and effort to our bodies. Possessions like clothing, etc. Clothes can express how a person feels about himself. Attitudes and behavior can also be affected by the kind of clothing one has. Clothes contribute to the formation and maintenance of self-image, means to show status in the society. Clothing can provide a sense of belongingness and self-identity. Family and reputation, critical part of the material self. As James asserted, if one loses a family member, a part of the self of that person is also totally lost. A great deal of one's identity is attached to the kind of family one has. Money. The amount of money one has could change the person. There is a direct link between having a steady source of money and having a positive self-esteem and psychological adjustment. Money as part of the material self has the potential to foster a sense of self-efficacy in individuals. Money can activate mindsets. From childhood to old age, material possessions become a symbol of ourselves and of our being. We identify who we are through our material possessions. We are being recognized by others through our material possessions. What is social status? Home as identity shell. How does your house look like? Ano ang nilalaman ng iyong sala? Mayaman ka ba? Mahirap at kapos? Middle class? The value and meaning of a status symbol changes over time. The meaning of giving gift. The rating if from clean extensions. The gifts are also used to show who you are, your status in life. Advertisement and consumer goods. A child who weeps and sulks in the store because the parent doesn't want to buy what the child wants to buy. We are what we buy. Purchasing materials, things, becomes a means in investing to what is called psychic energy. When we buy things, these things become part of who we are since we invest all our time, effort, and resources into it. When enough is enough for a Bilmoco person, acquisition centrality, acquisition as the pursuit of happiness, possessions refined, possessions define success. Kailan daw natin sabihin na tama na? Can we really buy happiness and peace of mind?